We just finished recording an episode of our podcast, Smoke and Science, all about practical applications of CBD. In the last episode, we talked about exactly the molecular mechanism of how that molecule works in our body, but that means absolutely nothing unless we talk about ways that we actually can use it and ways that people are using it. What is the research telling us? So in this video, I want to introduce CBD and some of its many therapeutic benefits. That sounded like a claim. So let me also put a disclaimer here and say nothing I say here is medical advice. I am simply trying to help people understand these very commonly used supplements and what they can be useful for. I am not a doctor. I have my PhD in pharmaceutical sciences. I specialize in natural products, but I am not a medical professional. All right, let's get started. So CBD stands for cannabidiol. And CBD is one of the most abundant molecules that the cannabis plant makes, specifically the hemp plant. And hemp is essentially the same exact plant that you're used to smoking, but maybe the one you smoke is high in THC, and hemp legally has to be very low in THC or have no THC in the plant. So because of the 2018 Farm Bill, we can legally grow, purchase, and sell CBD products online. So if you're looking for a new CBD product, I'll try to give you some different things to search for when you're looking for CBD products, but just know they are legally able to be purchased online. I mentioned in this episode of the podcast that I think that some people think that CBD is almost a scam because we advertise that it seems to be good for essentially everything that could potentially be wrong with your body. So, people will say it helps with pain, it helps with inflammation, it helps with anxiety, it helps with PTSD, so many different things. So how on earth could that be? For me, I think it all comes down to the anti-inflammatory properties of CBD, which really are amazing. This molecule is very good at lessening the inflammation in our bodies. And this is by lowering the amount of pro-inflammatory markers in our body, but also raising the amount of anti-inflammatory compounds in the body. The combination of this can really result in great relief for people who struggle with inflammation. Now, who are the people who struggle with inflammation? That is so much broader than what we think it is. So often we think of inflammation like, oh, I bumped my knee, I scraped my arm, it looks inflamed. But even if we don't see inflammation, it doesn't mean that it's not there. The majority of diseases that people are dying from are related to chronic inflammation. And this includes things like stroke and heart disease. People aren't really dying from arthritis, but it can impact your quality of life quite a bit. Even mental health conditions. Chronic inflammation is related to all of these, and we live very inflammatory lives. So if we can reduce the amount of baseline inflammation in our bodies, it can have profound benefits to our overall health. So many people are using CBD on a day-to-day basis, and I believe with the goal of lowering the amount of inflammation. A lot of people use CBD to help with mental health conditions, specifically anxiety. And we do have data that CBD can interact with your serotonin receptors in your brain, like your 5-HT1A receptor. And this receptor is the same receptor that other drugs have targeted in the past for the same outcome of relieving anxiety, relieving depression. So because of that evidence, it does make sense to use CBD products to help with your anxiety. And you can either do this in a chronic manner by taking CBD every single day, or if you feel an anxiety attack coming on, you can take a relatively high dose of CBD and see if that helps. So next, let's get into what is a relatively high dose of CBD, what's a relatively low dose of CBD. So CBD is what is referred to as a biphasic molecule, bi meaning two phases. So this is kind of intuitive with many things in life when you think about it. But what this means is that at a low dose, CBD is going to cause one specific effect. And then at a high dose, it's going to cause a different effect. So if you took a high dose of CBD, it's thought to be sedative, relaxing, calming. So people will take higher doses of CBD if they feel an anxiety attack coming on, if they want to improve their sleep overnight and they want to feel relaxed before bed. So a high dose is typically around 50 to 200 milligrams. You might be thinking, whoa, that seems like a lot of milligrams. And it is compared to a lot of pharmaceutical drugs, but CBD has been shown to be very safe even at high doses. So it is safe to take that much product, but you want to be careful taking a ton of CBD, like 200, 500 milligrams every single day. Because remember, your liver does have to process that molecule, all of those molecules. And we don't want to overwhelm any system in our body, including our liver, that has to deal with that. So a low dose of CBD is going to be around, let's say, 5 to 30 milligrams. And this is about what I take every day in the morning. So I'm going to put this in my tea. I'm going to put this in my coffee. It's a really low level, and low levels of CBD are thought to be stimulating. So it's great for daytime use because you're not going to feel sedated. And just because the evidence is suggesting that there is this biphasic effect, it doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily true for you. Unfortunately, we all have different bodies. We're all going to react to cannabis products differently. So what may be sedating for 90% of the population might not work for you, but it's definitely worth a try. So a lot of people, including myself, one of the main reasons why I'm using CBD, not just for reducing inflammation, but also to reduce any of the negative effects involved with using too much THC. So the way that CBD interacts with the receptors in your brain, or those little proteins that make you feel things, is it's not directly interacting with it. It's not binding to that main site on that receptor. Instead, it's altering the way that other molecules make you feel. So if THC is binding to that main receptor site on your cannabinoid 1 receptor, the CBD is kind of just sneaking along the side, and it's still interacting with the receptor, but not in the main way. So because of this, CBD is often used in conjunction with THC because it can change the way that you feel from using THC. It can actually lessen the effects of using too much THC. So for a lot of people, they'd say, why on earth would I not want to feel high from THC? You'll still feel high if you use THC in combination with CBD, but you may prevent some of those negative effects you feel from getting too high, like paranoia or anxiety. So if you're someone who feels really anxious when you use THC products, definitely try to change up your ratios of THC to CBD. Since really learning more about the cannabis plant in the past 10 years, I almost never use cannabis products without CBD present. And definitely switch up the methods that you're using your CBD. If you've only ever taken a tincture, like under your tongue or in your food or in your drink, and it's not working for you, try a topical product. Topicals will go directly on your skin and interact with the receptors right on your skin to help with inflammatory conditions that are local to a specific area. There's also there's CBD vapes. There are suppositories. There's transdermal patches. There are so many different options for using these products that you don't need to just try one at a specific dose and say, oh, that didn't work for me. You definitely need to experiment with different types of CBD, different extract types, and different doses and different administration methods. So what do I mean by different extract types? This is where it gets a little complicated, but this is a really good way to try out different products to see if they work for you. Some types of extracts that you might find when you're looking for CBD products are full spectrum extracts, broad spectrum extracts, CBD isolates, and our company actually just kind of created a new form of a CBD product, which are smoke extracts. So these different extracts are really going to differ based on how complicated they are. So the most complicated is going to be these like full spectrum extracts. And what that means is that you are able to extract the full spectrum of active molecules from the hemp plant. So it doesn't just contain CBD. It doesn't just contain CBG. It contains all of these minor and rare cannabinoids, these terpenes, these flavonoids, all of these beautiful compounds. We're extracting them all together. And then when we take that product, all of those molecules are interacting with our body. A broad spectrum extract is very similar to a full spectrum extract, except it does not contain any THC at all, zero. Whereas a full spectrum extract could contain up to 0.3% THC. So it's like a little nuance, but it's important to tell the difference. A CBD isolate means it is isolated CBD. It only contains CBD. And there's nothing wrong with using CBD isolate products, but we do have evidence that these molecules combined together have greater effects compared to a single molecule. And then the smoke and all spectrum, or the smoke spectrum, are these products that our company makes where we actually take the hemp flower and we expose it to high heats. And the high heat will convert that chemistry into new compounds. And those compounds are found in no other products. And it's more similar to the feeling of smoking compared to anything else because we introduced that high heat. So not only can you experiment with what type of extract you're buying, maybe you bought a full spectrum extract, you didn't like it. You tried CBD isolate, you didn't like it. You tried Profound Naturals products, the hemp smoke extracts, and you loved it. Then that's the product you choose. You can also experiment with different doses. You can try very low levels, see if you feel anything and make you feel better. Try higher doses, see if you feel anything and makes you feel better. But don't just try a product one time and expect everything in your life to change. Pretty much no medications that are used daily are going to start out that way. You almost need to train your body into feeling different, to finding a new state of balance. So what I recommend, and what I do for myself too, because I'm constantly experimenting on myself, is I will try a product at a relatively low dose for about 2 weeks. Then I will stop taking that product. And if I feel any different when I stop taking that product, it's a lot easier for me to notice any differences when I stop compared to while I'm doing it. So if I feel different when I stop taking the product and it's not a difference that I like, I will continue taking that product because I know it's doing something in my body, even if I can't pinpoint exactly what that is.